Peacemaker unpacked a lot in Season 1, so let's look back and get a little extra definition on all the craziness.
Peacemaker's back, baby!
Twerk it and twerk it. Get my little tush out.
It's my famous butt dance, my butt dance, my butt dance.
Okay, chill out, Vigilante. First, we're going to give a quick rundown of who Peacemaker is, specifically John Cena's live-action version, since that's what we're really here for. The comics version differs in various ways and would almost require its own video to do it justice. In a nutshell, he's a jingoistic anti-hero who believes in achieving peace at all costs, even if that means slaughtering countless people to reach that end. Not only is he a walking contradiction, he's juvenile, insecure, and haunted by his troubled relationship with his father. The first time we see Cena's portrayal of the character is in 2021's The Suicide Squad, which is the sequel to 2016's Suicide Squad. And we definitely have to talk about that before we get into Peacemaker's standalone show. So here's the SparkNotes version. The movie begins with Amanda Waller mustering 2 Task Force X teams for another off-the-books mission. The first consists of Savant, Captain Boomerang, Blackguard, Mongal, Javelin, TDK, Weasel, Harley Quinn, and Rick Flag. The second consists of Bloodsport, King Shark, Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher 2 and her pet rat Sebastian, and of course, Peacemaker. The mission is to be carried out on the South American island of Corto Maltese. Not only has an anti-American regime overthrown the government there, but a mysterious experiment known only as Project Starfish is being carried out in an old Nazi laboratory called Jotunheim.
Starfish is a slang term for a butthole. Think there's any connection?
No.
The team's supposedly simple mission? Destroy the lab. The first team is sent as a decoy, with only Harley Quinn and Rick Flag surviving a massive ambush. The second team is sent to actually complete the mission. Neither team is aware of this arrangement initially. The second team is first tasked with finding Flag, who's now chilling with some rebels who hope to thwart the new regime. Then they go to find Quinn, who has been captured by Silvio Luna, the regime's dictator. Interestingly, he wants to marry her instead of torture her for information. She's into it at first, but changes her mind once she realizes he's a ruthless monster. By the time Bloodsport and Flag reach her, she's already killed him and escaped on her own. With everyone reunited, the second team captures Project Starfish's lead scientist, the Thinker, and infiltrates the lab. There they discover Starro the Conqueror, a massive alien starfish that can create smaller versions of itself and use them to control human beings. Turns out, Starro was brought to Earth by the US government a long while back, and they've been using the residents of Corto Maltese as test subjects. Now that the regime has control of Starro, Waller wants the lab destroyed so that any evidence of American involvement is eradicated. Flag is pretty upset by all of this and plans to expose the truth back home. However, Peacemaker kills him since he was secretly tasked by Waller to ensure the cover-up is successful.
Peacemaker. What a joke.
After Bloodsport shoots Peacemaker, the team destroys the lab. This, however, enables Starro to escape the rubble and start to take over the island. Waller instructs the team to leave, but they refuse and decide to kill the alien starfish instead. Just as she's about to detonate the explosive charges in their heads for their insubordination, Waller's own team thwarts her. The team then defeats Starro, which allows the rebels to take back control of Corto Maltese and instate a legit democracy. In a post-credits scene, we see Waller punish 2 members of her mutinous team, Amelia Harcourt and John Economos, by forcing them to team up with Peacemaker for a new mission. And that's where Peacemaker Season 1 begins, with the anti-hero recovering in the hospital and coming to terms with his actions. Mostly, he's just amazed that no one seems interested in hauling him back to Belle Reef. After waltzing out of the hospital without anyone stopping him, he returns to his trailer, only to be recaptured again by Waller's new team.
I knew it was too good to be true.
We already know Harcourt and Economos, or Diebeard as Peacemaker likes to refer to him for most of the season.
Enjoy my food, Diebeard.
It's not dyed.
Oh, yeah, sure. Hard-edged two-tone gray and magic marker brown. That's natural.
There's also Leota Adebayo, a friendly woman who definitely doesn't seem to fit the typical super-secret Black Ops team mold. And there's Clemson Murn, an infamous mercenary whose many dark deeds precede him. He's in charge, and he offers Peacemaker a deal. Help them with a new assassination program called Project Butterfly, or go back to prison. Simple as that. Of course, he agrees, but no one is too stoked to work with him. And when he visits his dad, Augie Smith, we find out that the grumpy bigot isn't too stoked about him either. In fact, he never has been.
Somebody shot me, a building fell on me.
You let somebody shoot you?
It's not like I invited him to come shoot me, Dad.
Pathetic.
Yeah, his dad sucks, but at least he kept Peacemaker's BFF Eagly alive while he was locked up. And he also builds him a wide variety of sweet helmets in his quantum unfolding storage space. After meeting up with the gang and learning about his first Project Butterfly assassination target, a senator named Goff, he bonds a bit with Adebayo. It's definitely a welcome change from the treatment he's been getting from everyone else, but unbeknownst to him, she's actually Waller's daughter, and she has more of a role to play in Project Butterfly than we originally thought. More on that later. But yeah, she's married and isn't exactly Peacemaker's type, so he follows Harcourt to a bar and tries to work his magic. You know, since he's been in prison for 4 years and needs some affection. Unfortunately for him, it doesn't work in the slightest. But honestly, he should just feel lucky that he didn't get his arm broken for trying. Unsurprisingly, he settles for a girl who looks like she stepped straight out of a Poison music video. But this backfires in a serious way when it turns out that she's quite, murderous. Not to mention a bit more powerful than your average rocker chick. It's almost as if she isn't exactly human. Ultimately, he's forced to resort to the use of his helmet and blow her up with its sonic boom ability. This, of course, results in the cops being called and Peacemaker having to make a very awkward escape. But not before he steals a bunch of items, including a mysterious device from the girl's apartment. After tying up a random couple and jumping from balcony to balcony in an especially ungraceful fashion, Harcourt and Adebayo show up just in the nick of time to help him get away. To throw off the cops, Murn asks Economist to put Peacemaker's car registration in someone else's name. For reasons we'll never understand, he chooses Peacemaker's dad instead of some rando. This obviously has some lasting implications. Good job thinking on your feet, Economist. When discussing the incident afterwards, Murn and the others wonder how the rocker chick was able to find out about Project Butterfly. The answer is revealed when Peacemaker admits to bringing the dossier with him to her apartment. Good job thinking on your feet, Peacemaker.
I thought it would be safer on me than in the car unattended. What's I supposed to do? Drop it off at home for—
Yes!
He also reveals that he tied up that random couple, who Adebayo is then tasked with bribing to stay quiet. When Detective Sophie Song and her partner Detective Larry Fitzgibbon eventually bring them in to ID the man who kidnapped them, they honor their end of the deal by fingering Peacemaker's dad. This results in him being taken away in handcuffs. However, once he gets to jail, we find out that he has some, pretty loyal followers, known as Capes, who call him by another name.
All hail! The White Dragon.
Meanwhile, Peacemaker goes back home for a self-loathing session and cries himself into oblivion until his bud, Vigilante, shows up to rain on his pity parade. He goes on to get him out of his funk by shooting a bunch of junk with him in the woods. They also both hook up with Amber, one of the people Peacemaker tied up in the apartment complex. While they're all laying in bed together, Peacemaker inspects the strange device he found in the rocker chick's place and accidentally activates it. It looks to be some sort of tiny spaceship. There are more questions than answers as Peacemaker heads out with the team to complete his first assassination. Not only is he tasked with killing Senator Goff, but his entire family. Yeah, even someone as trigger-happy as Peacemaker has some reservations about it.
Kids?
Well, we aren't sure yet if they're butterflies.
Okay, easy. This is the part where you tell me what the a butterfly is.
We're not here to answer your questions, Smith.
Despite being kept in the dark, Peacemaker stakes out the Goff household with the team and prepares to do the deed. When the entire family starts to exhibit strange alien-like behavior, Murn gives him the go-ahead to shoot them all. However, he can't bring himself to do it, leaving Vigilante, who secretly tagged along, to step in and pull the trigger without a second thought. He manages to take out the wife and kids, but Goff's bodyguard, Judo Master, shows up to thwart them before he can finish the job and ice the senator. The fight does not go well and ends with Peacemaker and Vigilante being captured. Meanwhile, Adebayo has a similar crisis of conscience when she's faced with shooting Goff's other bodyguard, so Harcourt shoots him instead. Inside the Goff residence, we get to see who Vigilante really is after he and Peacemaker are tied up.
What are you doing?
If I keep changing my facial expressions, he won't be able to recognize me in a lineup.
Sorry, bud, Peacemaker and the rest of us know you're Adrian Chase, the weird busboy from the restaurant the team met up at in the first episode. Goff proceeds to torture Vigilante in an effort to get Peacemaker to talk, but it's unsuccessful, much to Vigilante's dismay. Goff also sends Judo Master to a place called Glan Tai to tell someone about what's going on, but Economist finds a way to stop him before he can escape the premises. After Adebayo finds the secret door that leads to where Peacemaker and Vigilante are being interrogated, they attach a sticky bomb to it. But since it requires an app or something to detonate, it doesn't work the way it's supposed to and nearly kills Murn when it finally explodes. Pretty much the typical app experience, right? Once Peacemaker gets the upper hand and kills Goff, the truth is somewhat revealed. Turns out, Project Butterfly is just as aptly named as Project Starfish was. Butterflies are actually tiny aliens that brutally commandeer human bodies, much the same as Starro's mini starfish.
Oh, Project Butterfly.
And as we see on a digital map in the team's van, there are a lot of them still out there to deal with. Even after all of this comes to light though, Murn is still reluctant to share more deets. Peacemaker isn't too happy about this, nor is he happy when he finds out that Economist framed his dad, which he figures out when he goes to grab some new helmets from Augie's quantum storage room. This is also when we get a quick glimpse of the White Dragon costume. Yeah, Augie's supervillain persona is basically a cross between Iron Man and the Grand Wizard of the KKK. Between that and how he rips on Peacemaker when he comes to visit him at jail, you have to wonder how his son has any love for him.
I never had any feelings for you, not like your brother. Him, I loved, but you were just a blob of flesh I felt nothing for.
Adebayo philosophizes about this while she's sitting outside of the jail with Vigilante, telling him that she doesn't think Peacemaker will ever find inner peace until his dad is dead. This prompts Vigilante to purposely get himself arrested so that he can kill Augie for his friend. While he definitely succeeds in mortally wounding a handful of his cronies, he fails to complete his mission. It's fine though. Murn gets him released later on and it's like it never even happened. Back at the team's HQ, Peacemaker and Adebayo return to find out that Judo Master has escaped after nearly killing Economist. During a rematch in the parking lot, Adebayo gets over her unwillingness to take a life and shoots him in the chest right before he's about to tell Peacemaker some important info about the butterflies. However, it's not enough to actually kill him. Later, when Peacemaker returns to his trailer, we see that he put the Goff butterfly in a jar and kept it for himself. And as he gets inebriated that night, we catch a glimpse of his backstory. Turns out, his father taught him to kill at a young age. Like a very young age. Oh, and he's kinda responsible for killing his brother. Oof, that explains a lot. And that's not all. It's also at this point that we learn Murn is a butterfly. Woo! No one besides us is aware of it though, for now. Meanwhile, Adebayo's dealing with multiple internal struggles. Not only is her marriage on the rocks, since her wife has no idea what her job actually is and doesn't understand why she's so agitated all the time, but her mom wants her to plant a fake diary in Peacemaker's trailer. More on that later. At the HQ, Murn finally lets Peacemaker in on the full scope of the butterfly situation. He reveals that butterflies have been found in the skulls of many powerful people worldwide. Basically, they're working to take over the world. And thanks to a clue uncovered by Adebayo, they think they know where the butterfly's food is made, a bottling company called Glan Tai. Remember, this is where Goff told Judo Master to run off to before Peacemaker shot him. Back in jail, Augie talks to the detectives and asks them to compare his prints to the ones recovered at the crime scene. They oblige, and of course, they don't match. After visiting the couple who Adebayo bribed and getting the truth out of them, they tried to move forward with releasing Augie and arresting Peacemaker, only to find out that the fingerprint analysis was tampered with behind the scenes. When they go to ask the police chief about it, they find that he's been replaced by someone else, a mysterious dude named Casper Locke, who, unbeknownst to them, has been installed there by Murn as a means of keeping Peacemaker out of police custody.
You take the rest of the night off. Give yourself a well-deserved rest.
I don't need a rest.
Wasn't a request, Detective.
All the while, Peacemaker and the gang head to the Glan Tai bottling company. On the way there, Peacemaker and Economist bond a little over the Finnish band Hanoi Rocks. It's kinda sweet, especially considering how they've been at each other's throats since the beginning.
Lift Street Kids?
No, it says 11th Street Kids.
Dude, that's one of their best songs.
Upon infiltrating the bottling factory, Peacemaker uses his X-ray vision helmet to determine if any of the employees are butterflies. Turns out they all are, and he starts blasting away. Regardless, they're able to confirm that it's a distribution center for the mysterious goo that the butterflies feed on, so that's definitely a win. However, things go a bit sideways when Harcourt and Vigilante get swarmed by butterflies and trapped in a computer room. which, has an angry gorilla named Charlie waiting inside of it. Peacemaker's way of helping is to throw a Russian tank shell fixed with an extra grenade at the horde of butterflies who were trying to make their way in, which goes exactly the way you think it's going to go. He's not much help when it comes to fighting Charlie either, but it's fine. Economist comes to save the day with a chainsaw, Fred Durst style. Sorry, there are just so few opportunities to make Limp Bizkit jokes, you know? Anyway, Peacemaker loves it.
You stud! Yeah. I am.
In fact, everyone loves it, so much so that they finally start to feel like an actual team. Harcourt even smiles, takes a pic of her friends, and starts a group chat called 11th Street Kids. Aww. And the awesome stuff continues when Peacemaker and Adebayo have a drink at his crib and she gets real with him about why people don't seem to like him.
Look, dude, you really aren't a bad guy. You just use being a dick as a way to push people away.
She goes on to say that all he has to do is be himself and true friendships will follow. Simple. This is obviously something Peacemaker really needs to hear since, pretty much everything that comes out of his mouth is a thinly veiled attempt to make people laugh and think he's cool. Yes, Peacemaker is essentially a teenager on the inside, in case you haven't already figured that out. So is Vigilante, honestly. But yeah, the heartwarming scene takes a nosedive when Adebayo plants that diary her mom mentioned earlier under some furniture. We aren't aware of its contents yet, but it's pretty obvious that it's meant to implicate Peacemaker in some way. After heading back to the HQ to work, since she feels guilty about framing her friend, Adebayo messes around with Peacemaker's X-ray helmet and learns the truth about Murn being a butterfly. He chases her for a minute, but it's not what you think. He's not an enemy, and the rest of the team, besides Peacemaker, knows about it.
She knows?
She was walking around with Peacemaker's X-ray vision helmet on.
He's not gonna like that. He's touchy about his helmets.
Okay, so here's the actual deal. The butterflies traveled to Earth because their planet was dying. All they wanted originally was to find a new place to call home. However, their leader, the butterfly who lived in Goff's head, and everyone else besides the butterfly in Murn's head decided that living in peace wasn't enough and began to make plans to take over the world. He's been working to stop them ever since and even feels bad about killing and commandeering a ruthless guy like Murn, which definitely speaks volumes about his character. It's also revealed that Waller has no idea about Murn being a butterfly and that the incident at the bottling company probably scared the invaders into moving the cow. Don't worry, we'll circle back to that shortly. Meanwhile, Detective Song finds a way to get Augie released from prison. Then she leads the entire police department to Peacemaker's trailer so they can finally make the correct arrest. Unbeknownst to them at first, Peacemaker and Vigilante are able to escape through the roof before they bust in. While searching the trailer, they find the diary Adebayo planted. Peacemaker and Vigilante almost manage to get away by climbing through the trees that surround his place, but Vigilante falls and accidentally breaks the jar that's holding the butterfly that once inhabited Goff. It then proceeds to fly into Detective Song's mouth and set up a new home in her skull. In the woods, Peacemaker and Vigilante are almost apprehended, but Locke shows up to help them escape.
Who are you? Do you want to ask stupid questions, or do you want to live? Which one do you want to do?
Afterwards, Detective Song, who is now just a butterfly in disguise, wakes up and baffles her partner with her obviously strange behavior. Then, she goes on to summon a whole horde of her fellow alien buds and they proceed to take over the entire police force, including Locke. This frees them up to go public with the fake diary found in Peacemaker's trailer and make him look insane. Definitely not good. Neither is the fact that Augie, or should we say White Dragon, begins to amass his cronies and prepare to go after his son. But hey, at least Harcourt is warming up to Peacemaker by this point. So much so, in fact, that she etches a dove of peace into his gun for him, a thing he insists on being etched into any gun he uses to dole out justice. She also tells him her first name.
Emilia.
Good night, Amelia.
Okay, back to the cow. Basically, it's some sort of beast that the butterflies harvest all that mysterious goo from. Thanks to some investigative work courtesy of economists, they know that it's located, at least for the time being, at a place called Coverdale Ranch. As such, Peacemaker, Eagly, Vigilante, and Economist set out to go kill it, which would ultimately result in starving the butterflies since they aren't able to eat any Earth-based food. On their way there, they're ambushed by White Dragon and his cronies. A brutal showdown ensues, with White Dragon severely wounding Eagly. It's at this point that we finally get the full picture of what happened when Peacemaker was a kid. Turns out, his dad set up a backyard fight between Peacemaker and his brother when they were kids, and even took bets from his neighbors. Tragically, Peacemaker punched his brother a bit too hard and accidentally killed him. All this time, he's been harboring devastating guilt, believing himself to be responsible. But of course, it wasn't really his fault. He was just a kid who was trying to make his crappy dad proud. He comes to terms with this truth as he faces off against his dad and ultimately shoots him dead.
Tender, nice touching.
Hey, dude, that's creepy.
Okay.
While all this is going down, Harcourt finds out that Adebayo is Waller's kid and berates her for betraying her friend. Understandably upset, Adebayo says she's done and prepares to bail once and for all. However, Murn shows up first and tells Harcourt that he knew she was Waller's daughter all along.
She's Waller's daughter.
Yeah, I know. You think I wouldn't do a background check on anyone coming to work with us?
I don't know how your weird butterfly brain works.
After agreeing to all meet up elsewhere and figure out their next move, the butterfly cops show up and kill Murn, all while Harcourt and Adebayo hide nearby, unable to face off against the lot of them. They get a chance to say goodbye at least. Yeah, it's extremely sad. Then they have yet another run-in with Judo Master and defeat him once again. Dude just won't sit down. Afterwards, they meet up with Peacemaker and the others at an old dog shelter where Adebayo used to work. There, Eagly recovers, and they appoint Harcourt as their new leader. So it all comes down to this. They head to Coverdale Ranch in hopes of killing the cow and defeating the butterflies once and for all. Problem is, the butterflies are setting up a teleportation device that will transport the cow elsewhere, far beyond the team's reach, so they have to act fast. First, they tried to have Eagly drop an explosive helmet on the barn, but that doesn't quite work out because eagles aren't the best at understanding complex instructions. Once they find it in the woods, Economist dresses up as a cop and walks it straight down into the basement of the place. This almost works, until he's caught as he's trying to leave and all hell breaks loose, but not before he's forced to confess that he does, in fact, dye his beard. In third person, no less, since he's trying to play it off like he's a butterfly.
He thought it made him look younger and more handsome.
He's then chased by a horde of butterflies and saved just in the nick of time when Adebayo activates the helmet's sonic boom ability. After setting it off the max number of times before it runs out of juice, the barn caves in, trapping the cow beneath the rubble. The team then heads in to finish everyone off, but it doesn't go exactly as planned. While Peacemaker heads in to make sure the cow is dead and ends up getting buried in detritus, both Harcourt and Vigilante get shot. Harcourt's wound is, quite severe.
Help. Chris.
I have to get you out of here.
Go.
After Adebayo finds Peacemaker and frees him, they once again run into Butterfly Song, who, in case you forgot, is actually the butterfly that was originally inside of Goff. Adebayo tries to help by using Peacemaker's torpedo helmet, but yeah, she just knocks herself out. Ouch. Turns out she didn't need to help anyway. Song leads Peacemaker to the cow and goes into a whole spiel about climate change and how humans are destroying their world in the same way the butterflies destroyed theirs. It honestly feels like South Park for a second. Then she asks Peacemaker to join her and the others in saving Earth and taking it away from those who don't care enough to respect it. You know, since his whole deal revolves around killing whoever he needs to in order to ensure peace. But does he go for it? Nope, he displays personal growth by activating the human torpedo function on his helmet, while Adebayo is still wearing it and killing the cow. Then he shoots Song. As they scoop up Harcourt and leave, the Justice League shows up to help. Way too late. Back at the hospital, Peacemaker and Adebayo make up. In fact, Peacemaker even goes so far as to call her his second best friend, after Eagly, of course. We also see that Harcourt survived. Look at her reaching out to grab Peacemaker's hand. So sweet. Oh, and Vigilante's fine too, as is Economist, even after really breaking his leg. Much to Waller's dismay, her daughter goes on live TV to act as a whistleblower and detail the truth about their operation and the history of Task Force X.
What the
Once they're all healed up, Peacemaker and Vigilante go back to goofing off in the woods behind his trailer. And the last thing we see is that the Goff butterfly survived after all and is taken to hanging out with Peacemaker and Eagly. Oh, and Peacemaker's hallucination of his dead father. So, how is Season 2 shaping up? And how is it connected to other DCU installments? As we recently found out after watching Superman, Lex Luthor uses the same technology that Augie Smith used to build his quantum unfolding chamber, or QUC for short. In the movie, he uses it to teleport from one place to another instantaneously, and also to keep his shady dealings largely hidden from watchful eyes. It's basically a pocket universe that exists outside of normal reality. This technology will apparently play a large role in Peacemaker Season 2, and will lead to a lot of characters from Superman showing up in the show, such as Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl.
That popcorn still here?
Love popcorn.
It also looks like a second Peacemaker from another dimension shows up, so yeah, it seems like we've got a multiverse thing in the works. Also making an appearance is Rick Flag Sr., who obviously wants revenge for the death of his son. And beyond that, we can also look forward to seeing Sasha Bordeaux, Langston Fleury, and Red Saint Wild. Season 2 drops on August 21st. Needless to say, we can't wait to see how it plays into the rebooted DCU and pushes the ongoing narrative forward into new and exciting directions.